Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my first impressions of We Happy Few. Typical. We Happy Few is a early access survival game on Steam. So bear in mind this is in early alpha and it is about halfway done through the development process, so anything you see here is nowhere near representative of the final product. So, after about 3 hours of playing this game, I have no clue how to define it properly. It is a survival game, and it is set in Crazy Town, but to simply put it like that is a gross underestimation of the game. So, yes, I believe this video game is the first game which featured British-speaking characters on this entire channel. So, I mean, here we go, 400 videos into the channel, and there's the first one with British, accent, with a British accent in it, and British-speaking people. So, I think it's a huge step forward for the professionalization of this channel. Anyways,
Getting late.
It's jokes aside, it is a survival game where you need to focus on 4 key elements, despite there being 5 icons in the corner. I'll explain that in a second. Health, sleep, food, and thirst are the 4 items that you need to focus on. I apologise for the blurring screen, by the way. It's because I have food poisoning. Oh, in the game, obviously, not IRL. Anyways, it is set in a alternative history England, I believe, though I'm basing that off of a few local broadcasts, as the story isn't exactly, let's say, spoon-fed to you. It is a procedurally generated world whereby you're going to run into a lot of new things as you go through it, and I have never seen this, for example.
Having a bit of a sit down.
A bit of sit down, lad, yeah? A bit of sit down, alright. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyways, so a procedurally generated world means that, your experience will be slightly different every playthrough. You go, and it's an interesting world that they built. Okay, it's very interesting. Everyone here is essentially on a drug called Joy, which, oddly enough, makes them happy. You'd kind of expect that. Anyways, you've seen me do stuff, you need to die. Not yet, maybe. Okay. Graphically, let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about some of the more key gameplay elements. Graphically, it's a very interesting game. It gives off this very gritty and dirty feel, yet keeping it interesting and colourful at the same time. And yes, it might not be the most realistic-looking game of all time. It certainly does its, it certainly does the game and the entire world justice. As it, its textures aren't that bad if you think about it, but aesthetically and from an art style perspective, I really do appreciate it, and I think it's very good, though, again, your opinion may vary, it's kind of a subjective thing. So, I'm going to sleep here for a second, and we're going to continue the video afterwards. Essentially, to touch a little bit more on the story before we move on to the gameplay, you've decided to stop taking this drug, or, well, you can decide to, and that's how the game begins, basically. You'll understand once we've played through through the prologue, which I will show at the end of this video, so as to avoid any massive spoilers for those of you that don't want them, because it sort of builds the world up, and it's a fairly key and interesting experience that I think you should go through on your own, not having, not watching it in a video first. So that's why I'm going to play that at the end, as counterintuitive as it may sound. So, to touch a little bit more on the world, you've decided to stop taking this drug, and they called you a downer, which I love the wording of that, basically, and called the authorities on you. You managed to escape, and now are left here to, well, survive. Anyways, gameplay-wise, you're going to spend most of your time running around looting things, and if you've looted enough things, like I have, you're going to start crafting them. So, this is the basic crafting menu, this is the mechanical crafting menu, and the chemical crafting menu. This is not everything, of course. You do get a whole truck ton of other things you can craft through blueprints. I only discovered a couple, and you can build an advanced rock. And sorry, not advanced, an enhanced rock. Are you sold yet? I have an enhanced rock. Anyways, other than that, you also have your suits. Now, bear in mind, wearing the wrong suit can irritate people, so if I were to put this on, everyone in the area would hate me, which is a rather interesting prospect, I believe. You also have these torches, branches, a pointy stick. Oh, sorry. There we go. And this is sort of the basic materials that you get in the first few hours of the game. Other than that, you will be exploring a lot. The map is limited at first to, well, not just this. There's more that isn't, shown here. However, there are these checkpoints, I would call them. Bridge crossing and escape. Reach St. George Holm. Okay, these are quests, actually. Never mind. Well, yeah, I won't call them checkpoints, basically. You need to do a certain thing, or have a certain thing, in order to cross them and unlock the next area of the map. So, here's the thing that I'm slightly worried about. I've played through quite a bit of this game. This is my second character in. And I still haven't seen any, horror elements. But there is stealth. Stealth is functioning. Stealth is surprisingly functioning. Especially when you're sneaking past a town full of addicts. I mean, it really isn't that difficult to just...
Would you like this?
Oh, and I received cloth in exchange. Nice. Was it worth it? No. Anyways.
I am in Paris.
Sure you are, love. Sure you are. You do get a lot of hiding options, as in, under the bed or in trash cans and stuff. I've still to see a monster appear from the mist somewhere. If it does, I will be extremely displeased, as I don't do horror games. I don't play horror games for oddly, expected reasons. Anyways, it did freak me out at least a little bit initially, and as soon as night falls, the game's atmosphere changes drastically. All the chit chatter around is ceased, and oh yeah, I've been through here and picked a fight recently. Anyways, all the sort of small chit chatter in the game is ceased, and you basically go into this very weird, mysterious mode. Nothing specifically is happening yet, but it just looks weird, and I guess you can run around freely then collecting stuff from the streets, such as money on the phone call booths and I guess phone booths you just call them, and stuff like that. So, you also get a couple of quests early on, one of which is to stop the guy that just ran by there and incapacitate him, which I will endeavour to do, but perhaps more importantly, you also often find...
I've just lost my way, Constable. I don't actually live out here.
This is for you.
Yeah, have fun with it.
He doesn't look well. I suppose I should help him.
Hi. I was going to say, you also run often into this, which is like miscellaneous events all over the place, which you approach, hopefully handle well, and as a result get rewarded in some way or another. Let me just free up some space for the shovel that I want to pick up. I'm pretty sure I don't need all these glass bottles. Inventory full. It takes more inventory space than that. Well, damn. Okay. Is 3 enough? Ah, there we go.
You wouldn't happen to have an Nexamide, would you, mate? A purple pill?
Don't you worry, dearie.
I think I ate something rotten.
From now on.
Oh! Nexodime, right. I'm going to need that for myself, actually. But yeah, if I find one, I will give it to you, mate. Anyways.
Beef Wellington.
Yeah, oddly enough, the guy dying of food poisoning seems like he's the most noble and normal person here. Free stew for those in need. Turn on the radio. Let's not do that because of copyright reasons. I don't quite see any free stew in the area. To be honest, what did I expect? It is a town of crazies. Anyways, let's eat something. I'm going to show you the combat next. Is this good to eat?
I hope I'm not actually coming down with something. That'd be rich.
It'll be fine for now, hopefully.
I don't believe we've had the pleasure.
Combat, right. If you do certain things or wear a certain shirt that pisses them off enough, they will...
Believe we had
I still hear them screaming, you know.
Mum, Dad,
Hi.
come on.
That's the combat. I've killed her. They do have weapons of their own, such as branches, but basically the extent of the combat is blocking and... punching, I suppose. There isn't exactly a combination of the two that you can do. It's fairly basic. Reminds me a lot, actually, of that game. The culling a little bit from its, not necessarily the survival aspects, but like the basic crafting mechanics and the combat. Even though the combat in the culling is a little bit more advanced than this. Anyways, speaking of which, a good friend of mine described this game as essentially a mixture of Fallout, Minecraft, and strangling your own unborn children, which, I understand the comparison. Do I necessarily agree with it? I don't know. You decide, but, it's a very interesting picture nonetheless, let's just say. So, I must say, I don't quite see the Fallout 4 here, or the Fallout, game, not any Fallout game to begin with. We found a Nexodine pill. Let's go and give it to, what's his face? Where is he actually? Is he? No? I'm pretty sure he's over here, right? Somewhere in this direction. Anyways, there is no crafting. There is crafting of tools, but there is no building specifically, which I suppose is a fairly important bit of information to give out. Every time you do that, mate, I found your Nexodine pill. Said, I found your Nexodine pill. He's not in the condition to speak to me, is he? Mate! Take it easy. Oi! Early alpha, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. As I said, there will be bugs that are yet to be fixed. Anyways, so now that I've showed you the basics of the game, and you have an understanding for them, hopefully, what do I think of it? What are my first impressions of this, and what do I think of the game, and would I recommend it? It is a bit pricey, I will tell you this much. However, it is a fairly big game, and bear in mind that it is still in development. So if you're not sure about this one just yet based on what you've seen, do remember that this is just the very early stages of this game, and that there is a ton of more content hidden underneath all this that I just need to get to. So again, first impressions, not a review. Bear that in mind, please, as you watch this video, and this is nowhere near a sort of indicator of whether you should buy this game or not. That said, I do recommend this game. I do recommend you try it out at least for yourselves, as it has a lot to show. It really, really does, and it's an absolute treat to explore. I picked up the wrong food item, sorry. It is an absolute treat to explore the various different kinds of, well, crazy people, I suppose, that you're going to meet, make it absolutely worthwhile exploring.
I don't feel well at all.
Oh. Yeah, this is going to be a problem, isn't it? I'm going to start vomiting any second now. Oh well, it makes it an absolute gem to explore and find all these different things. There's tons of... this is the main, sort of starting area in the buildings in the city. I ran over a bit over to like the extreme left or right of the map, I suppose you'd call it, and found an entire minefield with tons of loot, which I'm going to go to actually now if I can actually find it. So I believe it's in that direction. It should be, right? Over there. We'll see. Anyways, yes, it is an absolute treat to explore it. It is a bit thought-provoking with the entire prologue thing. It builds the world up incredibly nicely. And I think initially, at the very start of the game, it resembles Dishonored a little bit in the entire high society thing, but then you realise, oh, no, they're actually all on drugs. Which the storyline is missing right now. They're still building the storyline, which when they do... Oh god. When they do make it an actual thing, I will maybe make another video on it, but depending on how well this one gets received. And, yeah, but that would be pretty much everything. It's a good game, it really is. The survival is interesting, and is used to propel exploration rather than vice versa, which is very nice. What I mean by that is you find food and water in order to be able to explore more, rather than you don't explore to be able to find food or water. Yes, you do kind of do both, I suppose, but it's not just that. You tend to gather all these supplies and hoard them and carry them with you in order to be able to explore more and unlock more of the world. Anyways, I guess this will be pretty much it for this video. Guys, tell me if you like this game and if you'd like to see more of it on the channel. Perhaps even a little mini-series on me let's playing this. So basically tell me if you like that, and please remember to like and subscribe down below if you enjoyed this video. It's a difficult video to make. It's difficult explaining what this game is and doing a first impressions on it. As it's a survival game, and you really can't cover everything in one video and make it, decent and all that. So, that said, as I said, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care, and bye-bye. But before then, before we leave, I'm going to play the prologue for you really quickly. Here we go then, the prologue. This is the prologue. Very different from the game, isn't it? Dig on the victory of communism. Interesting. So basically, you're doing.
Oh, heavens, no.
No. Heavens, no. Yes. There we go. You're basically doing newspaper censorship, I suppose.
When life annoys, top up your joy. I should just take my joy, shouldn't I?
You do actually get the option to take joy. And that's the wrong option. Because if you take it, then it'll literally just force you to
Percy!
replay this.
Percy!
What have you been up to? No one's seen you for hours.
Oh, nose to the grindstone. You know.
Then why haven't I heard a single whoosh through the door since 10 o'clock? Did you forget we're having Deirdre's birthday party?
Oh.
We've got a pinata.
Right. Brilliant. Of course.
Have you forgotten your joy?
Of course not. Snug as a mug on a drug.
Well, come on then, finish up.
Just have a few more pages.
Right, snug as a bug on a drug.
Then don't
I'm
take
taking that, I'm using that.
Aha! The power cell's empty.
Well, what will you do?
I'll get a new one.
This does actually teach you a fairly important bit of the game. The power cells are actually important for later in the game, of course.
There is now a curfew in effect at night.
And we're going to censor this.
Brothers, I'll always look after you, you know that.
Lovely. I'd almost forgotten that, and now we can.
How does she know?
Well, I expect you in the conference room presently. Don't dawdle. You don't want to miss the pinata.
You really don't want to miss the pinata.
Wasn't Prudence supposed to be coming back today? I made her a welcome back card.
Prudence. Oh! Yeah, she's not coming back. Ever. Turns out she decided to stop taking Joy as well. Though she had a different end to mine. And I believe this is the last one. There we go. Whoosh, and we're done. It's a fairly civil society. I
Do you think
mean,
the canister wonders what life's like outside the tube? Of course he'd have to break the tube to get out. Well, that would break it for everybody.
and you go into here and you realise, oh, all this is a bit, you know, filthy. Clive's office, anonymous letter. I found an anonymous letter in Clive's office. Here is what it says. Dear Director, being one of your employees is subversive and may even be a downer. I overheard him commissionary telling a friend that he thinks that his job radiating old articles is silly. Oh no, we don't want a downer in here, do we? It'll be made clear why I said that in a second.
Whatever happened to you, Prudence?
I'll show you what happened to her in a second. Well, not in a second, in like a couple of minutes.
Are you off your joy, Prue? I mean, you too. You're not coming back, are you, Prue? But where did she go?
I'll show you where she went, but also notice the, this thing is rotten, right? Subtle changes, right? Subtle changes, and it's a mess.
No, leave me alone. I took my joy. I took my joy. No, no, leave me alone. No.
We seem to be a bit behind in our work now that you mention it.
Yeah? Yeah? It's like nobody's doing their job. But that thing is doing its job.
Odd. I never noticed that. We should fix that, or empty the bucket at least.
Never noticed it, eh? Wonder if it has anything to do with the
There
pills.
you are. You nearly missed the pinata. It's the most adorable Spanish custom. Uncle Jack
I
did a show.
know, it is
So
quite
smash it
adorable,
until all the
yes.
candy comes out. Come on, hit
Last
it.
time I smashed it,
Hit it.
what if I don't give it a whack? Oh, sure, I'm gonna give it a whack. Something's weird, eh? Surprise!
You are off your joy. Take one of mine. Oh my lord. He's a downer. Call security. We've got a downer.
Probably a bad time to ask for that raise.
Very. It says C to crouch and you can control the character. I guess, whatever. Quickly! Quickly! Run!
We've got a downer here, haven't we? Put that down! I'll fix you!
And there we go. That's the start of the game. It turns out that they're not working their job. And turns out that it's not quite as nice a society as you might think. Yeah. So, can we please load in quickly? I want to show you where Mrs. Prue, I believe he called her,
Good
is.
Christ. I can't believe I'm still alive. More or less.
What's going on?
Ow. Feels like I lost an argument with a train. I can't go back. I've got to get out of here.
This, I believe, is
Done
where
a lovely
we are.
job of breaking this door. I suppose I won't be getting blimey.
It's Mrs. Stokes.
Mrs. Stokes? Right. So not Mrs. Other one. Right, and we can find 2 letters from her here. She started to miss her husband, she stopped taking her pills, and, you know, yeah. Realised what kind of world we live in, I presume. Anyways, turn that off, that's just brainwashing. And this game, it instantly basically teaches you a little bit about the crafting. So, go over to your inventory. You go over to the crafting menu, and you build a basic lockpick. This is, by the way, just to get out of this place. Then you lockpick the maintenance locker here, and in it you find a Jimmy bar, which you use to get out of here. So a very, very nice tutorial, and that's how basically the game begins, and we're back to ground zero, I suppose, where the video started. So, fascinating, quite fascinating world building indeed, and you can actually take a couple of different paths to the, throughout the beginning sequence, I suppose, and unlock a couple of secrets and stuff like that. So, anyways, that's been pretty much everything for this video. Please remember to like and subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video, and until next time, take care, and bye-bye. And also, tell me if you'd like to see more of this.
No, for the sake.